Hello and welcome to the Cleveland Browns Report. I'm Jameer Howerton, joined by staff writer Matt Flajanzik. And Browns fans, this is a weekly report that you can catch right here on clevelandbrowns.com every Wednesday as we bring you all your latest news and information as well as exclusive interviews. Matt, before we talk about the headlines that are coming out of Berea, let's go back to last week's game and take a look at the PNC play of the game.
Under center with Prince in motion. He drops the throw. McCoy loads up, fires up in the air. What a catch! What a catch by Benjamin Watson down at the 16-yard line.
One-handed, went up, grabbed it, pulled it in.
What a catch!
And that was in the middle of double coverage.
Unbelievable, and the Browns on a great catch by Watson.
Matt, what a spectacular catch by tight end Ben Watson that eventually would lead to a Phil Dawson field goal.
It was a great catch by Watson. It was one of the several plays that the Browns made on offense that really set Phil Dawson up in some good field goal range. You look at some of the other plays that were made. Phil Taylor had a big sack on third down that held the Rams to a field goal when a first down would have given him 4 cracks at a touchdown. Scott Fujita came up with an interception near midfield that led to a Phil Dawson field goal. And Chris Ogbonnaya had a 32-yard run that also led to a Phil Dawson field goal. So really the offense started to show some signs of life and put Phil Dawson in some good field goal range.
You're absolutely right. We got a chance to see this offensive playbook just become very creative over last week's game. But Matt, overall, what a just heartbreaking way to lose a game.
Well, there are 2 words that Phil Dawson hates more than anything, and it's chip shot. And a lot of people were describing that last field goal attempt. It would have been a 22-yarder as a chip shot. Unfortunately for the Browns, a snap caromed off the foot of Alex Mack, rolled its way to Brad Maynard, and then Phil Dawson hooked it wide left. But still a heartbreaking way to lose a game and something that the Browns really did not want to see against the St. Louis Rams.
Monday and Tuesday is all about looking at the film, making the coaches' corrections, having a day off just to come in, work out, kind of heal all the bumps and bruises. And today, Wednesday, is all about moving forward. With that, what are some of the headlines that are coming out of today?
First and foremost, you're looking at the injury update. Peyton Hillis and TJ Ward will be out for Sunday's game, but the Browns did get good news on Ward's front. They took off the first cast. They found out that he was progressing well, put him in a second cast. The next stage is to get him progressing to the point where they put him in a walking boot and get him back to running and working out on his own and then with the team. So he is progressing. He's shown some signs of improvement from the injury that he suffered in Houston. Always good to hear positive news coming out of the injury front. Then you're looking at Montario Hardesty. Got some good news on him as well in the fact that he will not practice today, but the Browns state that they may be able to get him back at some point this week or in the near future, and it's always good to have a fuller complement of running backs, and Montario would be a welcomed addition back to that backfield. In his absence at practice, Chris Ogbonnaya will get the bulk of the work with the first team, and Ogbonnaya is coming off of an outstanding performance with a career-high 90 rushing yards on 19 carries. The offensive line did a good job to open up some holes and give him an opportunity to make some plays.
You're absolutely right, Matt. The offensive line stepped up in a major way, and our very own Kristen Rebelli is standing by right now with offensive lineman Jason Pigsting. Kristen.
Thanks, Jameer. Jason, you've had to fill in some big shoes with the loss of injured Eric Steinbach. How has that been for you?
It's going pretty good now. I'm next to Joe and Alex. They've been great. Any questions I have, anything I'm having trouble with, they help me out. So it's going pretty good.
The offensive line seemed to be a lot better against the Rams. Do you see the progress happening there?
Yeah, we're definitely taking steps in the right direction. We're getting guys blocked and, popped a couple big runs. Hopefully we can continue it this Sunday versus Jacksonville.
Now that you're at the midpoint of the season, what have you learned?
I've learned a lot over these last couple of weeks, being a rookie coming in and replacing Steinbach. I've learned a lot. There's a lot of stuff I've still got to learn, but it's a process, and it's I can't complain the way it's going.
The defense, what do you expect to see from the Jaguars defense on Sunday?
We were watching some film on them earlier. They're a physical team up front. They do a great job of stopping the run, so we're going to have to get after them.
How do you get back from that tough loss against the Rams?
Come in on Monday, we made our corrections and, see the things that we've got better at and see the things we need to work on, and you just move forward and, focus all this week on Jacksonville.
I wish you the best of luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
Back to you, Jameer.
Thanks, Kristen. Matt, you look at this Jaguars team that's coming to town Sunday. They're 3-6. The Browns are currently 3-6. Both teams are struggling offensively, and they're ranked very high defensively. But you look at this matchup, this is a winnable game for the Browns.
It definitely starts up front for the Browns defense, though. That front four has to find a way to get pressure on rookie quarterback Blaine Gabbert. He has a less than 50% completion percentage. He's been sacked 21 times for 135 yards. Still has a positive touchdown to interception ratio 6-5, but he hasn't completed very many passes, and he hasn't learned quite yet how to handle that pressure from opposing defenses. One guy that will help take the load off of Galbert's shoulders is no doubt running back Maurice Jones-Drew. Jones-Drew accounts for roughly half of the Jaguars' offense, has 854 yards and 4 touchdowns on 191 carries this year, also has 15 catches out of the backfield for 108 yards. He's averaging 4.5 yards per carry and 7.2 yards per reception. This young man is an impact player for this Jaguars' offense.
Absolutely, Matt. He's a silver bullet, and head coach Pat Shermer had plenty to say about MJD in his press conference today.
Well, he's an outstanding back. He's been an outstanding back in this league for a lot of years. It's very hard to tackle. He's a very explosive runner, and I tell you, he accounts for a lot of what they do on offense. They're trying to develop a young quarterback, and he means a lot to that team. So the focus of our defense, of course, will be to make sure that we limit his production.
Well, Matt, the Browns have faced the Jaguars 13 times, and contributing writer Steve King takes us back to a memorable matchup that helped the Browns get to the playoffs.
Thanks, Jameer. Let's go back to December 8, 2002. The Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars at Alltel Stadium. Jameer, every playoff team has to be good, obviously. But somewhere along the way, you need a little bit of magic. You need something to kind of fall out of the skies. This was this game for the Cleveland Browns. Trailing 20-14 and at the 50-yard line with time for only one play, they needed a miracle, and they got it. Tim Couch with his second Hail Mary pass of his career. A 50-yarder to Quincy Morgan in the right corner of the end zone. The Browns had a 21-20 victory, and it helped get them to the playoffs. They finished 9-7. Every game was important. They got into the playoffs on tiebreakers, so that made it just that much sweeter. The Browns 21, the Jacksonville Jaguars 20. On the road to the playoffs, this was a major step.
Thanks, Steve. And Matt, thank you for joining us here on the Cleveland Browns Report.
It's always a pleasure, Jameer. Thank you.
Well, Browns fans, please stick around, because coming up next, we catch up with team president Mike Holmgren to see what he's been doing off the field, and we take a look at the high school football playoff picture.
Tune into Cleveland Browns Daily, driven by Liberty Ford on ESPN 850 WKNR.
Touchdown!
It's all football all the time. Browns senior editor Vic Carucci delivers news, access, opinion 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year.
What is so special about football in Cleveland is that the Browns are the daily topic. There's always something to talk about.
Don't miss Cleveland Browns Daily, driven by Liberty Ford, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. on ESPN 850 WKNR. Browns fans, stay connected to the team with the Cleveland Browns official mobile app. It's free and available for your iPhone or Android. Download the app today to gain access to news, team information, and exclusive videos on the go. Visit clevelandbrowns.com for more information.
Browns team president Mike Holmgren and his wife Kathy helped kick off the Salvation Army's Red Kettle campaign on Tuesday afternoon at the arcade in downtown Cleveland. As honorary co-chairs, they participated in a tree lighting ceremony and presented the initial donation to the campaign.
We are so excited to have the Browns here today. The Holmgrens, they have been wonderful. They have given a $10,000 donation to the Salvation Army to start off our kettle campaign. And also the Browns, they have matched the donation, so it's $20,000. It's a wonderful way to start off the Christmas season.
The Salvation Army does great work all over the world. They're all over the world doing good for the people who are most vulnerable, and we're just lucky enough to have the means to help them out.
Wherever I coached, Kathy and I have been able to participate in both Green Bay, Seattle, and now here in Cleveland. And it's just a great organization. It does so much for people that really need their help.
I'm now joined with Coordinator of Community Outreach, Matt Yunker. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jameer, thanks. Good to be here.
Another big weekend in high school football. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, we're getting down to the wire now where these games, they've always meant something, but you're starting to really think, all right, who's got a chance to make it to the state playoff, or a state championship, rather. Last week we had what we thought was going to be a pretty close game, Aurora and Talmadge, but the Green Men of Aurora proved they're in it for the long haul. They pretty much manhandled a good Talmadge team. 34-14 was the final. They did it offensively. They're well balanced defensively. I mean, they come away with 8 sacks. They get an interception. Special teams, they even break out some trickery. They score on a fake field goal. So Aurora looks really good. They've got a tough matchup against Walsh Jesuit now in the regional final this Friday night. Should be a good testament to see who's going to advance on in Division II. Now, Jameer, 2 games that we didn't cover, but might have been the 2 best games in the state last weekend, happened on Saturday night. The first was down at Brunswick, St. Ed, St. Ignatius. Anyone that's from here knows that's a rivalry. They just played 15 days ago. St. Ed's jumps out to a 17-3 lead. Looks like they're going to maybe run away with it. All of a sudden, St. Ignatius pulls out this fourth quarter comeback, caps it off with a game-winning field goal as time expires, and they win 20-17 to advance to this week's regional final against the winner of the second game that we're going to talk about from Saturday night, Mentor and Solon. Now, this is kind of a tale of 2 games. You look at it, Mentor's up 35-7 at halftime, and you think, all right, they're going to run away with this. Solon comes all the way back, ties the game. Mentor has to hold on for a 42-40 victory, thrilling game. And really 2 of the premier teams, Division I, Region I. So I wanted to make sure we talked about those 2 games. Those were excellent games in the state of Ohio, and any fans that took a look knew that those are some of the best teams we can look at.
You talk about those 2 games, and that leads us into where we're going this weekend.
It's kind of funny, Jameer. So it's like the fans wanted to see, all right, what can those 2 teams do against each other? And that's what they're going to see. It's this weekend. It's a Saturday night game that we're going to be covering this week. So Mentor versus Ignatius, Saturday night at Lakewood High School Football Stadium. It's going to be a packed house, so fans that are going obviously get there early. And kind of a unique thing about this, Jameer, you look back at our Week 3 high school game of the week, same matchup, Mentor Ignatius. Mentor rolled over them pretty good that week, 38-24. I expect this to be a much closer game for obvious reasons. The winner is going to go on to the state semifinal and have a lot more to play for. So I think this is going to be a good game. Happy the fans wanted us to go here and cover this. And as always, after the game, there'll be Sunday morning, so there'll be a lot to check out on clevelandbrowns.com, but they can see all the highlights. And a little different on the radio show this week. We'll be previewing the game because it won't be played until Saturday night, but obviously fans can tune in and kind of catch our thoughts on what will be taking place Saturday night.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for giving us the inside scoop on the high school football front. And Browns fans, you only have 1 more week for your chance to vote on the high school game of the week. This is going to conclude your Cleveland Browns report. For Matt Yunker, I'm Jameer Howerton. Thanks for joining us.